Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan from History and Games, a video and audio series in which I play video games and talk about the real historical people, places, and events hidden inside our favorite games. If you like this video about Hades 2, please like, subscribe, and click that little bell, and I'll be sure to make more game and history goodness in the future. Thank you, and also thank you to SuperGiantGames for providing me access to their technical test for the game. I super appreciate it. So after years of anticipation, SuperGiantGames has finally unleashed early access to Hades 2, its very first sequel to any game it's ever made. This is a huge deal, and I'm so excited for this game. Now, if you're not already familiar with the original Hades, let me briefly walk you through the idea behind it. Hades is a roguelike action RPG with fast-paced combat, gorgeous art and music, fantastic voice acting, unique enemies and locations, and super cool weapons. In Hades, you play Zagreus, an immortal prince of the underworld trying to escape his father's realm in search of answers about his family's past. While doing so, you'll wield the powers and weapons of the Olympian gods. Hades is one of my favorite games of the past decade, and I highly recommend it, especially if you love Greek history and mythology. SuperGiantGames clearly did their homework on Hades, and a lot of what you see is based on a thorough reading of the Orphic hymns, the surviving fragments of which date from somewhere between the 3rd century BCE and 3rd century AD. And now that we have a better understanding of the first game, let's move on to Hades 2. In Hades 2, we meet Melanoi, younger sister of Zagreus and the world's last hope against the ambitions of the Titan of Time, Kronos. And the reason I'm trying to say Kronos and not Kronos is because it turns out there were two different gods in Greek mythology with similar names who are constantly mixed up. One is a Titan of Time, and one is a Titan of Agriculture. And so I wanted to be clear about who I'm talking about. Sorry, I know, but this is History and Games. I gotta talk history here. At any rate, moving on. The story for Hades 2 is very mysterious. What happened between the last time we saw Zagreus and the first time we see Melanoi isn't yet clear. All we know is that the Titan of Time has escaped his prison in Tartarus, the lowest depths of Hades, and has taken over almost the entirety of the underworld. The fate of Lord Hades, along with all the other chthonic deities within his domain, is currently unknown. All we know is that those who didn't disappear from the underworld were forced to flee and have taken refuge at the Crossroads, a liminal space between the upper and lower world, ruled by who else? The goddess of liminal spaces and crossroads herself, Hecate, whom I will do a video about very soon. Or if you can't wait for the video, check out my TikTok video on her at Meg Sullivan History. In Hades 2, Hecate once tried to take on the Titan of Time herself, but failed. However, ever since, she's been training the princess of the underworld Melanoi in the hopes the saffron-robed princess can avenge her family and save them all from the machinations of Kronos. And that's the story so far. To learn more, we'll have to play, fight, fail, and play again. And that's the great thing about this roguelite series. Every time you fail in battle, it opens up new skills, weapons, characters, conversations, and more. It's a learning process, and a fun one, and so far, I've enjoyed it every step of the way, and let me tell you why. So this action-based roguelike takes place in Erebos, both a place and the literal personification of darkness. It's here that Melanoi will take on a slew of new, hard-hitting enemies. These spooky new enemies include wailing ghosts, creepy-looking Reaper types, and you'll even have the chance to test your skills against Hecate herself. These new enemies are tough customers, but by wisely using dash, weaponizing the environment, and attacking with great skill and timing, Melanoi can even the odds against her. Her biggest asset is a cache of powerful weapons known as nocturnal arms. Now right now there are only 2 out of what looks like 6 weapons available in the technical test, but the good news is I like them both for different reasons. Melanoi starts with the Witch's Staff, which sends forth short projectiles when performing normal attacks, and has the ability to summon 2 powerful spells known as Omega attacks that consume energy from a pool of magic and so therefore cannot be spammed, but do a great amount of damage. One attack lets you blast enemies with a magic sphere, while the other eviscerates enemies in a vertical line on either side of you. The only downside is that Omega spells take time to rev up, leaving you vulnerable to enemy attacks. Luckily, Melanoi has a special cast that allows her to ensnare her enemies, preventing them from moving around for a second or two and allowing the player to line up their shot. Very handy. The other weapon currently available are the sister blades Lim and Oros. I really like this weapon. It's fast, it's responsive, although you have to get up close to enemies to pull off attacks, which is a little risky. And it too comes with awesome Omega spells. One lets you send out several lines of attack at once, and the other is a dash attack that allows Melinoid to dash past the enemy or barrel right through them and literally backstab them for more damage. Both weapons are effective, and I can't wait to see what Melinoid will get her hands on in the future. But even Melinoid's starting weapons are pretty great thanks to some new boons from the Olympians. Yes, the gods of Olympus are back with a cool new look, dynamic new backgrounds to go along with their new cool look, and new powers to lend Melinoid. Along with new Olympian boons, there are also new Olympians. Spoiler alert, making their debut are Hestia, goddess of the hearth, Hephaestus, the smithing god, Selene, Titan goddess of the moon, and the god of enlightenment and prophecy, Apollo, and they all have something valuable to share. For example, Apollo's boons include Nova Flourish, in which your specials do more damage, Extra Dose, in which your attack has a chance to hit twice, and Perfect Image, in which your damage increases so long as you take no damage. I love it. And alongside the Olympians, we get to meet a few new chthonic deities as well. Moros, Doom, brother of Thanatos, Death, Odysseus, the wily tactician of Homer's Odyssey, who's filling in for Achilles apparently, and Dora, who doesn't seem to have any purpose at all except to haunt Melinoid's room in the Crossroads and annoy the heck out of me. Speaking of the Crossroads, this area acts as a central hub of the game. It's here you return when you die, and it's here that Melinoid can use resources and money she's collected around Erebus to upgrade her skills and specials, unlock new weapons and items, talk to NPCs, learn more about the story, and practice her moves. I admit I'm not super keen on the overall layout of the Crossroads, it's kind of awkward, but I love talking to NPCs here and unlocking cool new features. One of the people you get to talk to every time you return to the Crossroads is Hecate. Hecate is such a wonderfully supportive character. She senses Melinoid's doubts about her abilities and does everything she can to encourage her student to continue striving to learn, grow, and succeed, not just in battle, but in life. A rather refreshing change from the hilarious but sometimes painful snark Hades doles out to his teenage son Zagreus. Also, look at Hecate's abs. Those are impressive. My interactions with the handsome and charming Odysseus have also been fun. The wily tactician from Homer's Odyssey has taken on Achilles' role as guide and mentor, and after giving him a bottle of nectar, he immediately gifted me with something equally valuable: knuckle bones, an accessory which allows Melinoid to take 15% less damage from powerful guardians like Hecate. Now, it's not yet clear what roles Moros, Nemesis, who reminds me of Meg from the original Hades, and others will play in Melinoid's adventure, but I'm looking forward to flirting with them all. True to the series, every character is a hottie. Now, once you're finished talking to all the hotties, you're free to power up Melinoid however you see fit. For example, at the Altar of Ash, you can use Ash acquired on the battlefield to unlock a variety of arcane cards that will give you a special advantage in battle. The Titan card gives you plus 20 on your magic and health, the Furies card adds 20% more damage to your casts, etc., etc. Meanwhile, Hecate's Cauldron in the main part of the Crossroads will allow Melinoid to unlock special features like a merchant, special tools known as unseen tools for gathering resources, NPCs like Moros, and more. By the way, the unseen tools I just mentioned, which include a spade, a fishing rod, a pickaxe, etc., will let Melinoid gather resources out in Erebus or plant seeds in the Crossroads that will grow into valuable commodities. These in turn can be used to craft items, unlock new features, or even let Melinoid try on stylish stat-boosting armor when she visits Arachne, a cute little spider that hangs around Erebus. I like this new resource gameplay loop. It's a nice break from simply hacking and slashing your enemies and collecting loot drops. By the way, slight tangent, but I love the overall aesthetic of this game. The cooler tones of Erebus really sets the mood, especially with its dead trees, which can be used to dish out environmental damage, desolate rocks, and strange plays of light and shadow. The Crossroads is also a vibe. Everywhere you look, it's literally magical. Stars, crescent moons, pentagrams, magical runes, frogs, which have been associated with magic as far back as the early dynastic period of ancient Egypt nearly 5,000 years ago, and even a giant magic cauldron are all accounted for. This magical girl theme makes sense given that in late antiquity, Melinoid, both a daughter of and an angry aspect of the queen of the underworld Persephone, and Hecate, a chthonic goddess of both physical and spiritual boundaries, were often invoked in magical spells, magic closely being associated with the underworld. And as you can see, their character designs reflect that. I love how Hecate is rocking a pointy hat, wielding a staff that looks like a torch, wearing crescent moon emblems, and even a labyrinth-like belt. All of these things are symbols closely associated with the goddess of liminal spaces. Meanwhile, notice that Melinoë is wearing a gorgeous quince or saffron-colored dress and has 2 different colored eyes and a green arm. This is also deliberate. In the Orphic hymns, Melinoë is both described as wearing a saffron-colored robe and being double-bodied, although the meaning behind the latter is still disputed by scholars. At any rate, I've really loved my time with Hades 2. Like the original Hades, this roguelike action RPG features fast-paced combat, gorgeous art and music, fantastic voice acting, unique enemies and locations, and super cool weapons. It took me only about an hour and a half to get to the end of the technical test, but of course, I kept playing and discovering new things. And I can't wait to unlock the rest of Hades 2. What do you think of Hades 2 so far? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching History and Games, everyone. See you later!